All right, hey everybody, welcome to the Deep Dive Show. My name is Mpomo Tauriro. Our goal with this show is to bring you and I in proximity to the people and ideas that will show us that it is possible and it can be done, and eventually help us achieve on our dreams and goals. Now, today we have a special guest. This is a man that helps brands effectively tell their stories. This is a man whose mantra is rebel the ordinary, and in rebelling the ordinary, he has created the extraordinary with his work. He's not only honing on his skills, but he's a man that is relentlessly in pursuit of excellence. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, help me in welcoming Mr. Refilwe Nong. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long time coming to have this conversation, and we finally have it. This is such a surreal moment for me. So
awesome.
Thank you for coming through, sir.
I appreciate the invite. Yes, sir.
I think we can begin right here. Walk us through or tell us in your own words, what is branding?
Look, man, there are so many definitions on this. A lot of people know them. But I personally believe branding to be an exercise where you develop perceptions, you influence them, and then you also manage them. I simply believe branding to be perception management. For the longest time, it took me quite a while to understand what this meant even to myself. But if you are going to come up with a story about what your brand is, if you're going to come up with an idea of why you exist and then convince it on another person, then that way you are really just influencing the way they see either your product or your brand in a certain way. And then you also get to manage those perceptions by either delivering on your brand promises. So to me, it's all about perception creation as well as perception management.
Could you break it down for us exactly what it is you do and help brands with?
Look, man, I used to sell muffins when I was still at college. And when I was selling muffins, I wanted to sell my products in a very unique manner. I wanted people to understand why I was selling these muffins so that I could be at a point where I effectively sell them, So I needed somebody who's doing what I'm doing now. That is why I eventually started learning and teaching myself how to do it. Because back then I did not have the resources to pay, somebody to do that. So it's really just about, being at a point where I help brand owners, who have ideas to say, look, let's come up with an internal brand strategy for your business. Let's find out why you want to do what you're doing. Let's find out who you want to target, your client persona. Let's develop a story around your product. Let's be intentional about it. So that's what really I do. Apart from the fact that many people just see the graphics, there's quite a lot of internal work that has to be done, or that I do with brand owners, on a day-to-day basis, to say, before we can actually have a product, there needs to be, some internal work done. So that's what I do mostly with brand owners. But in a nutshell, I help to develop brand identities as well as product package designs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Brand identities and product package designs.
Yes, sir.
I think this is a question that I've always wanted to ask, because I realized that a number of people actually kind of put these together.
Yeah.
But in your world, I don't think they are together. So can you really help us demystify that, branding and marketing? Because some people put it like this, but how would you be able to put that?
I believe there are things that obviously go, hand to hand. There are things that go together. Like I had already started. Initially, when I was saying I believe branding to be just, the creating and influencing as well as the management of perceptions, I believe marketing to be an intentional exercise where now you take all of that, that which you have developed, the perception that you would have developed, and now you are taking it to the people intentionally through forms of, your marketing forms, in terms of your campaigns, in terms of your outreaches, in terms of, just going out into the people, physical interactions. That, to me, I believe is marketing. But the branding part, to me, is where now you get to sit yourself down and decide, what am I really doing? What kind of product am I trying to come up with? What kind of influence am I trying to generate? It may just be, to say my product is cheaper, it's better, it's most effective. You are influencing us to see it that way, and then from there you get to go out into the world and say those things on a day-to-day basis. You're now marketing the ideas that you would have developed initially. Yes, sir.
So walk us through, if I come to you right now
Yeah.
and I'm looking for branding,
Yeah.
right? Walk us through the process of where do you start with me and how do you take me on that journey?
Look, I enjoy working with people who get things done. I enjoy working with people who are very intentional.
No doubt.
And I do not hide this because locally we are just, a lot of us are associated with mediocrity. And I wish to help change that. So when you come and you are in need to develop a brand, we first of all sit down with you to have an understanding of your idea. Because really, when you come to me, I will not be an order taker. I will be your vision partner. So that means I'll be walking with you through your vision, because obviously you have an idea, you want to get somewhere with it. So I'll be sitting down with you to have a full understanding of that which you want to develop. And then from that particular understanding, then that is when we can start to take you through the process where now we have, the questionnaire that will be sent to you, that will be more intentional to gather more information from you. And then once you fill that questionnaire, we start developing our word mapping exercise, which really is just connecting all related words to your idea or brand or product or whatever it is. And then once we have that exercise done, we circle those words that are most relevant. But not only that, under that particular questionnaire, you would have filled in, who your intended target audience is. And then we get to do a bit of research on those people so that the designs that we come up with, they may really communicate to your targeted audience. Because we can create beautiful designs, sure. But if they are not communicating to your target audience, then it's a waste of time.
For sure.
So once we've been able to have that word mapping exercise, we start the sketching process as well as the conceptualization process, and then eventually the presentation where you get to see the work that we would have done, and then you get time to send in your feedback for changes if need be. Because really, we don't come up with designs alone. We collectively work with brand owners to translate that story graphically.
Beautiful. It's a collective experience.
Definitely.
We're going to pause here for a break and we're going to be back with Mr. Refilwe Nong. Welcome back to the Deep Dive Show, everybody. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and share this with one friend. We're here with Mr. Refilwe Nong. So there's a question that I want to ask you pertaining to how you really got to hone in into this.
Yeah.
Right. So what was that first aha moment of you as a creative and moving into who you are today?
Look, man, I went to Buang. It was called BCA then.
Yeah.
I did animal science and I graduated 2016. So you can say I'm an animal scientist. Back in the day, I was quite good in science and design and technology. So when I finished my Form 5, I had to decide between the two, but the science won. So after graduating, I worked at the University of Botswana, but that's where I got to realize my heart is somewhere else. So I decided to not reapply at UB, and then I focused entirely on design.
Bold choice.
But the aha moment for me was when I was still working at UB, I was involved in a car accident, and my arm was not functioning for the whole of December. I got to ask myself one question. I said, if I was to die today, would I have been happy with what I'm doing? And my answer was no. And after that particular accident, I decided from there on that, you know what, I want to live intentionally. I want to do something that excites me in the morning. And, when I think about it, I just jump and I'm just excited. That is where now I decided, you know what, I need to be doing design full time. But as we have discussed before, I didn't just fall into design. I was cultivated for 5 full years doing design and technology by a gentleman called Mr. Sono. So he's the gentleman who really cultivated me through the years. And then, later on, I was mentored by a lady called Lindsay Marsh in the United States of America. So I have a qualification of Logo Master Certificate for that.
Nice.
Yeah. But the accident was the aha moment for me. Yes.
All right. How were you able to get your first clients? How did you go about that? How did you reach out to them? How did they come to you? Or how were you able to get the ball rolling? Because, I mean, it's a bold choice, yes, of not going back to, probably what would have been more comfortable.
Definitely.
But you struck out on your own. How were you able to get your first clients and off the ground?
Look, people work with you when they know that you can do something, when they know that you're good at something. So first, I started off by developing make-believe designs that didn't necessarily have clients. So these were designs that I came up with myself. And then I started posting them on my Facebook page. And that is how people got to realize that, okay, this gentleman can really do work for us. And that is how I got, one client, another client. But it started small. Eventually, I realized I wanted to attract a certain clientele. So I did a bit of scouting. There's a lady on Facebook. Her name is Candy. Her page is Fitness Candy. I scouted her out and I realized she is mostly connected to the audience that I want to serve. So I reached out to her with a proposal and I said, I want to brand you. I want to develop your brand for you. Would you be willing to assist me in, just working with you? That is all I wanted. And indeed, she agreed to that.
Was that for free?
Yes.
Okay.
I did that voluntarily because I knew the end goal, so I wasn't really interested in the monetary gain then. So I worked with her for free and I put everything on her design. I gave my everything, to be honest. And from there on, she started being a walking advertisement for me. She told all her friends. She told the people around her. And then I started working with people such as Belsab or Shatani Somolekai. And then it blew up from there. So I'm really happy that, that intentional pursuit really worked out.
Talk to me about rebelling the ordinary. I mean, that's it really resonates with me. How do you come about that? How do you make that your thing?
Look, man, when you are an introvert, you are always seen as an outsider. You're always seen as the weird guy. Oh, that one. He never talks. He's always shy. He's always indoors. So I think the guys who are extroverts are mostly the ordinary ones because they do what is expected. They're always vibey. They're out there. But I realized I need to own up to who I am. And that is how I came up with that phrase, rebel the ordinary, because I wanted people to understand that it's okay to be on a path that is different. It's okay to do what is not expected. It's okay to be different from everybody else. And out of that difference can come, something that is so magical, the world will celebrate you for it. Yes, sir.
Well put. Talk to me about now brands in Botswana. You've worked with so many brands, including Dr. Gure, Toba Kerakang. Let me put it like this. Would you be able to actually give us some of your top brands that you actually think in Botswana are doing a very good job?
Yeah. Look, man, I enjoy intentional brand owners. From the top of my head, I'm thinking of BK Proctor. He's phenomenal in the sense that he understands this, what we talked about when we said influencing perceptions. He's doing a phenomenal job at influencing our perceptions to see his shoes not only just as shoes. We are expressing ourselves through his, his products. He's doing a phenomenal job. Another brand that I really appreciate would be, is it Native Events? Often copied, but never matched. I feel that is beautiful. They do a phenomenal job most of the time. I also just love organic natural skincare. Obviously, I worked with them, but they are, very intentional as well. They've understood the assignment, and they are, chasing after a wonderful dream that if you were to go to their Facebook page, you'd easily be able to tell what it is. Yeah.
Beautiful. We're going to pause here and we'll be back with Refilwe Nong. Welcome back to the Deep Dive Show. I know you guys have hit that like and subscribe button already. We're here with Refilwe Nong. So I wanted to talk about brand perceptions, especially in Botswana. What is your biggest message to how we see brands in Botswana, especially local made brands?
I think the first thing that we need to be talking about is how we see ourselves. Because how we see our brands is a reflection of how we see ourselves. We associate local brands with mediocrity because we don't see ourselves as anything more than just mediocre people. So we need to first and foremost see ourselves on a different light. This idea where we always say Motswana this, Motswana that, it should stop. We should be cultivating ourselves to a point where we understand that if things are to change in terms of how we see the brands that are locally produced, it starts with us as individuals, So for now, anything locally produced is always perceived to be of mediocre quality, which is a shame. But for now, I think that is one of the things that I am trying by all means to help change. Because we need to really be intentional about how we are perceived and how our brands are perceived as well.
But where does that really come from? Does it come from what you were saying as the way we look at ourselves? Because I don't think other countries really think about their brands as we think about them here. Rona matata rona where are we missing it?
Look, do you know that milk is not really as healthy as people say it is? The farmers and the marketing guys, they grouped themselves and then they decided, let's tell a story about this. Let's tell them that, milk makes bones strong. And they kept saying that over and over and over for many years. People who have died before us actually knew that to be true. So I think locally, this is also where we are. We've always had an impression of how our local brands are, and we continue to say it and say it. If you go to Consumer Watchdog now, that will be the message you see. Support local, it's not good, this is happening. So we continuously keep telling ourselves this thing, and then it is becoming embedded in our heads. But look, also I need to say that a lot of our local brands also have a part to play in this. Because sometimes we just produce for the sake of producing. We don't take time to work on our brands, our internal brand strategy. We don't take time to work on our packaging, our messaging, how we deliver our product to the people, how we present the product. So with that, it's also not helping the narrative that is already out there. So I think with time, it's something that can change. But it needs us as a collective, us meaning Botswana, to stand up and really be intentional about the brands that we do develop. Yeah.
Beautiful. Before we started rolling, we talked about Dr. Gura's lubes.
Yes.
And you said something so insightful that I think the people need to know.
Is it?
About the perception of how they look at it. So can you get into that?
Can you remind me again?
You talked about how people, as they look at loops, no, this man is always talking about sex. But he's actually educating us and he's saying something that is so pertinent. He's spreading a message that is so important that we fail to really grasp the message itself. But just because maybe it's a touchy subject, we shy away from it.
I think the doctor is misunderstood. He's a phenomenal gentleman. I've had time to spend with him. He has a vision. And if I can say it in Setswana. So everything that the doctor develops, he develops that particular thing with that vision in mind. So if he comes up with a product like Mapacha Pacha Lube, look at just hear the name Mapacha Pacha. There was one lady who said she does not like the name, and I was saying it's okay. Because really what the doctor is trying to do, he's trying to allow us as a society to be at a point where we loosen up when it comes to matters of sexual intercourse. It's a touchy subject, yes, I know. But we need to be at a point where we relax a bit.
But it's relevant.
Definitely. Because it's something that for ages has not really been, talked about. And he's, tackling this particular topic. And now he's producing products that communicate the value of what he's saying. So he's one of the brands that I really enjoy working with because he's intentional. His products, Khaditswe Hela, because it's a product. They are always structured, they're always spreading a message, and they always connect to his vision.
Beautiful. Talk to me about a powerful brand story. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it do to me as a consumer of that product?
It doesn't necessarily have to look any form of way. It doesn't have to appear in a fashionable manner. It just has to be relatable. I mean, if you are to walk into a store and then you can relate with a particular brand based on either how they started or where they're going or how they are progressing, then that is effective enough. Because really, I don't want people to have an impression that they have to be sitting down for hours without end thinking about, my story, my brand story. No, it's just, for example, with organic natural skincare, they're developing products that are catered for the African skin. That's a good enough story to tell. I mean, how many products do you know that are available for African skin? So you need to be at a point where you understand why you're doing what you're doing and to who you are actually doing that for, as well as understanding how you wish to be different from everybody else doing the same thing that you're doing. You can come up with a story from just those three.
Beautiful. So where do we see Refilwe Nong brand going next 2-3 years? What does that look like for you?
Look, man, I've been solo for quite a long time. It's one of the things that are really, limiting me for now. But I'm mentoring a few guys now. Mentoring a few guys. I want to pass on the ideas, the design techniques, and everything else.
Is it open for some people that would be really, really interested to join, or it's a small, intimate class for now?
Look, I mentor people who are intentional. Every time when somebody says, "Can you mentor me?" I tell them, send me a PDF about who you are, where you want to go, your next 5 years, what you plan on becoming, how you want me to mentor you. People don't send that. And that is just the basics that I require for somebody to be under my mentorship, because I really want to work with people who understand that when I mentor them, I don't take responsibility for their growth. I just simply guide it. So at the moment, I'm mentoring a few gentlemen and women. And in the next few years, I want to actually have a team around this brand so that, this brand can survive even when I'm no longer here.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
We are hoping to develop online courses to educate not only designers, but also brand owners, especially local ones, so that they can, start being intentional with their brands, to understand that a brand is a living, breathing, thing that needs, it's more like a child, So you need to give it a name, you need to give it a visual representation, you need to give it a communication structure so that it can be able to relate with either your audience or other brands that are playing in that particular market. Yeah.
So on a large scale, you are creative.
Definitely.
You are creative. On a large scale, where do you think maybe as a country we need to focus on, or how do we need to start just talking about all creatives in general? Where do you think we need to focus and actually build from there and make things right for us as creatives?
Yeah. When you are exceptional at what you do in Botswana, a lot of people will tell you to move, go to
South
another
Africa.
country, go somewhere else. I mean, it's good advice in the sense that you'd be appreciated better elsewhere. But I also feel, V. Mampisi is an exceptional creative in my view, because
I agree.
He laid the foundation for almost every other artist today. Why? Because he inspired other creatives to see that indeed it's possible.
Yes.
So if as creatives we can just take the time to realize that we also have a part to play in shaping our industry. We also have a part to play in inspiring the younger generation to, be better than we ever were. We also have a responsibility to take what we do seriously. I think that's an important element. Why? Because quite a lot of us are just operating on a hobby level. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We create just a hobby.
We're not treating it like a craft.
Definitely. We are not giving it the attention that it deserves. We are not giving it the resources that it needs. If we can start to be as intentional with, our creative arts or our creative doings, then it will eventually pay out. Because there's nowhere where if you start taking yourself seriously, there's no how other people will not start taking you seriously.
Definitely.
So it's entirely up to us to lay the foundation. It would be nice to one day see creatives be perceived maybe on a similar level as lawyers, because when you see a lawyer, there's always this, high
aura.
perception.
Yeah.
We need that as well to just at least take ourselves seriously to a point where other people can take us seriously and eventually pay us for what we are worth.
Yes, sir. I want to ask this question and put it like this. You are creative.
Yes.
Writers call it writer's block. So it probably happens to you. How do you navigate around that? Where you need that inspiration? How do you navigate that problem? Yeah.
There was a time when I actually took a break. I don't know if it was 2020. I'm not quite sure. I just decided, I need time. Because then I started waking up with this burden in my heart where I saw clients as a headache, where I started to not really appreciate what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I knew that, okay, I'm at a point where now I've squeezed almost everything out of myself. So I need time to, fill in the juices. I need time to get new inspiration. But my advice to other people, I think traveling really helps. Although I don't travel much myself, but that time when I was in Sandton, I got to realize that, oh man, we are not living.
There's a whole new world.
Oh my goodness, man. We're just surviving this side, man. And having spent the time with other entrepreneurs, they got also an opportunity to show me, different ways of doing things. And I believe as a creative, you need to be at least have, other creatives in your circle so that you can share problems, you can share difficulties, and you can be able to share ideas, and they might eventually be able to help you, to gain more inspiration and all of that. But for local creatives, I would suggest please try by all means to benchmark outside. I know, it's nice to also benchmark locally. It's okay. I have nothing against that. But benchmarking internationally, you get exposed to way more than what we have here. And you can get to bring a whole lot more to the country as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Before I ask my last question, where can these people find you online and offline?
Look, we had to open up an office at home. So I'm currently operating virtually. I've set up an office there. So most of the time when a client wants to connect with me or get work done, we get to meet up for a coffee session so that I get to understand the brands, the ideas and what have you. But really my presence is mostly online. That's where you can find me on social media, on Facebook as well as Instagram with the same name, Refilwe Nong. So for now, that is where I am. But like I was saying, I want to develop a team where we can have a physical office where people can come in. I like this placement. This accelerator place is phenomenal. We should have studios of some sort in the future like this one, because this is a very creative space to work with. So for now, that is what we are dealing with.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. My last question is, how do you want to be remembered as Refilwe Nong?
Look, man, I don't want to be remembered as a phenomenal designer. No. I would die unhappy. Probably even wake up. I think I just want to be remembered as a very impactful person. I always tell the brands that I work with that, you know what, I'm not an order taker. I want to be part of your vision. So I want to be the guy you remember when the vision is coming together to say, it wouldn't have been possible without that gentleman. And I want to be that impactful. I want to help individuals to realize that there's more to their brands, there's more to what they see as a small idea, and I want to really be impactful in that area.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming, my brother. This brings us to the very, very end of this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it because of the amazing gems that were in here. So, ladies and gentlemen, please dive into this man's world. You will be breathtaking. Please dive into his world. Contact him. He's very open and he is always willing to help and move and push the limits of what we always thought to be impossible to make it possible. And I hope you guys will like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let us meet on the very, very next episode next week, same time, same place.